Hello, Big Reds. We're in part three. This is part three. We can do this. All right. Getting ready for that test so we can all get A's, right? Okay. So I got another problem for you to do. And you don't have to use a ruler unless you'd like to. I'm going to draw two similar triangles. Remember, that's something we've done pretty recently here. All right. And obviously, these are vertical angles right here. And let's say I have an X here. I'm going to put, I'm just going to make up a number. I'm going to say this is 30, and this is 20, and this is, let's see, 28 right here. And let's say this is 35 degrees here, 35 degrees here. So these two triangles are similar, and I want to solve for x. Well, in order to solve for x, I know sides are proportional, so I have to solve a proportion, right? So you could do this a couple different ways. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to take the smaller side on the left, which is 20, the larger side on the left, which is 28. Then the smaller side on the right, which is 30, over the bigger side on the right, which is x. Now, in order to solve this, I'm going to cross multiply 30 times 28 and divide by 20. So I'm going to do that on my calculator right here. 30 times 28 divided by 20, and I get 42. So x equals 42. You will have one like that on the test. Okay, another thing. Let's see if we have a point right here. And let's say we have two triangles. All right. And we're going to call this M prime, and this is M. And let's say this is, we want to know if this is a reduction or enlargement. Okay? Well, if you look at these two, you can see we start with the pre-image, this, and we go to the one with the prime. So this is going to be a reduction because it's getting smaller in size. That will also be something you need to know. All right, there is going to be some graphing. You're going to have to do some graphing here. So you got some points. I'm going to call them 3, -3, 1, -1, 0, -4, and we'll call this 2, -6. And let's say you want to rotate it 180 degrees. Well, one thing I want you to do is you have to be able to graph the rotation. All right? So you need to be able to graph the new points, graph these points, and then graph the new points after you're done with the rotation. Okay? So just a quick example. If I rotate these, I'm going to call this A, B, C, and D. If I rotate 180, we know the rule is, as we rotate 180, xy becomes -x, -y, or the opposite, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say A prime, I have to make them the opposite, so it becomes -3, 3, B prime, which is -1, 1, C prime, which is 0, 4, and D prime, which is -2, 6. So what I would have to do on my sheet of graph paper, and I'm not going to do it right now, but you're going to graph these points and graph these points. You have to be able to know how to do that, okay? But that, just use the rule, graph the points. Remember, go left to right first and up or down. So if I'm graphing point 3, -3, I would go to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, and then down 1, 2, 3. That's 3, -3, be A. And so my A prime would be -3, 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2, 3, be A prime. And you do the same thing with all the points. Okay? All right, so now we have, let's say we have a nice tree here. Okay? We have a tree that's casting a shadow. Let's say the tree is, oh, I don't know, let's say it's 20 feet, has a shadow. The tree has a shadow that's 20 feet long, and an MHS student has a shadow that's 8 feet long. And let's say the student is actually 5 feet tall. I know that's not very tall, but that's okay. We want to know how tall is the tree. So in order to do this, we're going to have to want to draw a little sketch here. Draw a tree with a shadow. Here's our tree. And we know the tree has a shadow that's 20 feet long. And then we are also going to draw the MHS student. This is not drawn to scale. And shadow is 8 feet long and 5 feet tall. So to solve this, we're going to use a proportion. We're going to call this x. So we can call x over 20 equals 5 over 8. And again, solve this, you cross multiply and divide. 20 times 5 is 100. 100 divided by 8 is about 12.5. So the tree is 12.5 feet tall. Make sure you label. That's very important. Label it. Okay, now next part. Let's say we have some coordinates. Let's say we have point A, B, C. This is 2, 2, and 2, 8, and 10, 2. And we want to do a composition of functions. So let's translate it by x, y goes to x plus 2, comma, y plus 4. And then we'll dilate it by a scale factor of, let's say, 1/2. So first thing I have to do is I have my a prime, b prime, and c prime. I add 2 to the x's and add 4 to the y's. So when I do that, 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. 10 plus 2 is 12. Y values add 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. 8 plus 4 is 12. 2 plus 4 is 6. Then I multiply by whatever this is. So I'm going to multiply by 1/2 to get my a double prime, b double prime, c double prime. So I multiply by 1/2 and I get 2 comma 3. Multiply by 1/2 here, I get 2 comma 6. Multiply by 1/2 over here, I have 6 comma 3. And this would be my answer right here. So make sure you're able to do all of those steps. Okay? I have another one where you're going to have to, you could translate and then reflect and do the same type of thing. So when you do a translation, translate, then reflect also. When you do that example, you start in the beginning, do the translation rule like we did up here, but instead of the dilation, when you reflect, you have to use the reflection rule, whatever reflection rule you need to use. Okay? Then if you translate, let's say I want to translate something 9 units right and 8 units down. So if I want to do that, I just take an object, called A, B, C, D. I move all the points 9 right and 8 down. So I move this 9 right, 8 down, make A prime. 9 right, 8 down, make B prime. 9 right, 8 down, make D prime. And 9 right, 8 down, make C prime, and connect it. All right. So that's it except for honors. Honors, you have one more video for you. So, all right, good luck on the test.